When I was little, my mom would take me to Kmart and let me wander around the toy section while she shopped. Normal in the 70s. One day, as I was playing Simon Says, an old man walked up to me and was making small talk while I played. He eventually told me to come with him and took me by the hand. We walked right down the main center aisle of the store right towards the exit sign in the back. As we crossed the last row, I looked to the right and saw my mom at the end of the row. I told him I saw my mom and had to go. I pulled my hand away and ran down to her. I didn't tell her what happened because I didn't want to get in trouble for going with a stranger. It was several years later that I realized that I had probably narrowly avoided being molested, kidnapped, or worse. It was very early morning / late at night, whatever you want to call it. Around 5 a.m., still dark. My dad and brother and I were in the car. On the way to where we were going, there's this dimly lit road with a forest on both sides and a bend that made it difficult to see. Bear in mind, this isn't a residential area. There isn't even a sidewalk, and the nearest intersection is a good kilometer either way. So, we're driving. We get to this bend, and just before it, I see a figure sort of waving us down. They were dressed kind of odd, but I figured it was just some sort of running outfit. I don't want to say it was glowing or reflective, because I don't fully remember. But it just made me assume it was some sort of running outfit. I couldn't make out his face, or anything about him, other than his clothing. So he's waving us down dramatically. My dad slows down, but doesn't really think anything of it. As we turn along the road, we see a car, like, right frickin' there. It was just out of view before the curve in the road. So we would have definitely hit it if my dad didn't slow down. Dad stops, quickly checks on the driver of the car to make sure he's okay, then doubles back for some reason, maybe to thank the guy who warned us. He drove back quite a ways. No one on either side of the road. It was about 60 seconds from initially seeing the guy, so there was no time for him to really go anywhere. When I was a kid, I was always the last kid picked up by the bus driver to go to school. One day, I was waiting for the bus by myself, and a bus with no kids pulled up. The bus driver smiled and told me to hop on. I just had a bad feeling. I said, "Where are the other kids?" And he said,
"We will go get them now. Just get on."
He got more and more pushy, but didn't do anything crazy. I just kept saying no, and he shrugged and left. The real bus pulled up a few minutes later. I went to school, and my parents didn't know until I mentioned it that night. Looking back, they were pretty worried. I remember them scrambling to make a few phone calls. Last year, a guy came to my house around 9 at night. He knocked, and I got my mom, and she went out to see what was up. By the way, we live in a very rural area, so visits this late are extremely uncommon and strange. The guy talked to my mom about how he was opening a business and asked whether she liked American-made products, then handed her a Clorox container as a sample. He went back to his minivan and opened it to get a vacuum cleaner when my mom saw 5 other men sitting inside. She told me to run and get my phone since we didn't have a landline. I couldn't find it, so I got my knife and stood around the corner. She threw the container outside and told him to get the hell off of her property, as well as that she was going to call the cops. They peeled out of the driveway, and we never saw the car again. 2 months later, my mom found a single bearded guy putting filled garbage bags by the back door. She asked him what the hell he was doing, and he responded by saying,
"This is for your little girl."
Again, she told him to get the hell out. And when we went through the bags, they were filled with garbage, dirty clothes, and empty tampon containers. We went camping with a few friends on a small hill a few kilometers out in the woods from one of the guy's houses. There's a few hiking / 4-wheel trails in the area that led up to the hill, so it's known by the locals. It was about midnight. We had a fire going, and we were all just sitting around having a good time. And then the guy, there was 4 of us, sitting opposite of me yells, "Who are you?" I turn around, and there's this man, about 6 foot tall, just staring at us from the edge of the woods, with a big rock in his hand. One guy knocked an arrow in the compound bow he had, and the guy across from me grabbed the hatchet and I pulled the knife from my belt. We had no clue what we were going to do, but the guy wouldn't say anything to us. He eventually just backed into the woods. No sleep was had that night, and we kept a very large fire going. My mom had been calling a lot. It was my first semester away at college, and her husband had gone batshit insane. He hit her for the first time 4 nights before I moved out. She locked him out of the house, and he banged on the doors. In the middle of the night, he'd driven away, and I hadn't seen him since. When I answered, she said she'd gotten a phone call while she was watching the TV. The person on the other end of the line said he'd been hired to kill her and her kids, but if she could make him a better offer, he wouldn't do it. He told her what TV show she was watching. He told her what dorm I lived in. He told her that my little brother was upstairs playing video games when he was supposed to be asleep. She ran upstairs. My little brother was playing video games in his room. She yelled at him to pack a bag. The person on the phone had hung up. She called me. I waited for 45 minutes before leaving, hoping my roommates would show up and help me figure out what to do. I told her to call the police, but my mom said no. I got in my truck and made a 45-minute drive in 20 minutes. The highway was nearly deserted. I hoped a police officer would pull me over. They'd know what to do, and I'd be able to say I hadn't called the cops. I accidentally missed my turn when my mom called me 3 times in a row. I accidentally ran a light when I answered. A cop was right there, but he didn't pull me over. When I got to our neighborhood, I parked 2 streets away and used my ROTC tactical movements to go through alleys to our backyard. I tried to call my mother 3 times, but she hadn't answered. I put my phone on vibrate. The gate was closed, but when I opened it, I saw the back door standing open. Light from the kitchen was practically illuminating the patio. No one was out there. I hesitated and went in, calling out softly for our chihuahuas. They weren't there. Shit, those dogs bark at everything. They were either not in the house, or they were dead. Shit. I got a knife from the kitchen and started a room-by-room search. Kitchen and laundry room were clear. I refused to check the garage. Dining room, clear. Living room, clear, but oh fuck. There's a broken vase. Downstairs bathroom, clear. I didn't go into the master bedroom because I was fully expected to find my mother dead. I needed to get upstairs to the second bedroom on the right, my bedroom, to get my rifle, the only gun in the house. But no one was downstairs, and upstairs was completely dark. There was a blind corner right at the top of the stairs. Anyone could be hiding there. I was 100% freaking the fuck out as I climbed the stairs. I got almost halfway up when something started to bang on the front door, which was right in front of the stairs. I froze. I turned halfway so no one could surprise me from the second floor. "Who's there?" I screamed. My cover was blown anyway. If anyone was in the house, they knew where I was now. Whoever was outside could see me through the glass at the top of the door, but it was too dark for me to see them. No one answered, but they kept pounding on the door. "Who the fuck is it?" I screamed. Now at the base of the steps, they kept banging the door. "I'll kill you, motherfucker," I screamed as I flung the door open, to see my mother standing there with the chihuahuas in the arm. "Why didn't you answer me?" I asked. She said she wasn't sure if it was me or not. "And if it hadn't been me, what were you going to do? Throw the dogs at them?" She hadn't thought that far ahead. I told her the back door had been open, and she said it'd been locked when she left. I said I checked most of the downstairs and was going upstairs for the gun. She said go up and get it, so I went up with my knife and checked upstairs while I was at it. Then I checked the rest of the downstairs. She'd taken my brother to his friend's house, which is why she didn't answer her phone when I called. She'd been driving. I spent the night barricading the doors and windows and begging her to leave. Just leave. She baked me some cookies. Her face was blue and purple from her husband's last visit. She said my brother had tried to protect her, and he didn't look so great either. I said I'd kill her husband. She said she knew, and so did he, which is why he always left when they called me. I feel I should mention I'm a chick, and he was a good foot taller than me and easily 50 pounds heavier, but I would have killed him. In the morning, I had to leave early to be at PT for ROTC at 5:30 a.m. I had maybe 45 minutes of sleep, where my mom had asked me to stay in the living room floor outside of the master bedroom. I lost it at PT and then again in my weekly meeting with my athletics advisor. My ROTC instructors and my athletic advisor were horrified. We got a restraining order that day against my mom's husband. He couldn't come on campus. I wasn't allowed to walk on campus alone. My roommates also got extra security. A few weeks later, my mom's husband tried to kill her on my 19th birthday. He was in his car and he'd thrown her phone, which she was using to dial 911, on the passenger seat. She reached in to get it and he grabbed her arm and held on while he reversed out of the driveway and dragged her down the alley. He let go and her head slammed on the ground. She had a concussion. He tried to back over her, but she screamed and rolled away. He ran over her foot and hand. Our neighbor came out of her house and screamed, which scared him away. My mom and brother went into hiding that night. Being on those stairs, certain my family was dead, and I was about to die, that was the scariest moment of my life. And having someone bang on the door and not answer when I was screaming at them, having to open it while thinking a killer was on the other side, creepiest thing ever. I hope you guys enjoyed these true creepy stories. I did veer a little bit from the paranormal this time, and reading these and, looking through these kinds of stories made me realize that the living is a lot more scary than the paranormal and spirits and stuff. It's creepy, and these creep me out a lot more than paranormal stories do. But don't forget, if you want to see my last video, it'll be on the top left, and my next video will be at the bottom left. In the description will be my email that you can email your own personal stories to, if you would like. And also, my Facebook page is down there, so you can like that. I give updates and stuff, and once I start getting a little bit more people there, I'm going to start asking questions on what I should post, like what kind of stories would you like to hear. So, remember, there's always someone or something watching you.